My name is Lila, and I'm 22 years old. Life hasn't been easy since my dad remarried. My stepmom, Vanessa, has always made me feel like I didn't belong. She treats me differently from her own kids, and I often feel invisible in my own home. One morning, I woke up to a lot of excitement in the house. Vanessa was busy packing her bags, barking orders at my dad and her two kids, Emily and Chris. The house buzzed with talk of a luxury vacation to the Bahamas. I watched from the corner of the kitchen as Vanessa showed off the fancy hotels she'd booked and the activities they'd planned. I hadn't heard a word about this trip until now. Why wasn't I invited? I asked, keeping my voice steady. Vanessa turned to me with a fake smile. Oh, Lila, this is a family trip. You know, for our family. She emphasized the word our in a way that stung. I am family, I shot back, trying to hide how hurt I felt. Vanessa laughed, her tone dripping with mockery. Sweetheart, this trip is expensive. Poor people like you couldn't afford something like this anyway. Don't take it personally. Her words hit me like a slap in the face. I worked hard, juggling school and a part-time job. Every dollar I saved went toward my future, something Vanessa clearly didn't care about. I clenched my fists under the table, but forced myself to stay calm.
Dad.
I looked at him, hoping he would stand up for me. But my dad, as usual, avoided my gaze. It's just better this way, Lila. Maybe next time. I left the room without another word, feeling angry and betrayed. As I sat on my bed, trying to calm down, my phone buzzed with a notification. It was from my bank. My jaw dropped as I read the message. $12 for $50 charged to your credit card. My heart started pounding. I didn't remember spending that kind of money. I quickly opened the app and checked the details. The charges were for airline tickets, a luxury hotel, and even spa packages. A wave of anger surged through me. Vanessa's family trip was being paid for with my money. I couldn't believe it. My dad had used my hard-earned savings to fund this vacation, and Vanessa had the audacity to tell me I didn't belong. I knew what I had to do. I grabbed my phone and called my bank. I need to cancel my credit card immediately, I told the representative. There's been unauthorized use. By the time I hung up, I felt a mix of anger and satisfaction. Vanessa and her perfect little trip were about to hit a big roadblock. I wasn't going to let them walk all over me anymore. The next morning, I woke up to chaos. Vanessa's shrill voice echoed through the house as she screamed at my dad. What do you mean the payments didn't go through? She screeched. Everything was confirmed yesterday. I couldn't help but smile as I walked into the kitchen, where Vanessa was pacing back and forth. My dad stood near the counter, his face pale and sweaty. Emily and Chris sat at the table, looking confused. Did something happen? I asked, pretending to be clueless. Vanessa spun around, glaring at me. Our trip is canceled, she snapped. The credit card company declined the charges. Now everything is ruined. I raised an eyebrow. That's strange. Did you use the right card? My dad shifted uncomfortably. Lila, I think we need to talk. Oh, do we? Asked, folding my arms. What about? Vanessa stepped forward, her face red with anger. Don't play dumb. Mark used your credit card for the trip. Why did you cancel it? My heart pounded, but I stayed calm. Wait, you're saying you used my credit card without asking me? Isn't that, like, fraud? My dad held up his hands defensively. It's not what it sounds like, Lila. We were going to pay you back after the trip. We just didn't want you to feel left out. I couldn't help but laugh at the ridiculous excuse.
Oh, right.
I'm sure telling me I'm too poor to afford the trip was your way of making me feel included. Vanessa rolled her eyes. Don't be dramatic. It's not like you were going to use that money anytime soon. You should have been happy to contribute to a family vacation. Happies? I shot back. That money is mine. I worked for it. You didn't even ask me. The tension in the room was thick. Emily and Chris quietly slipped out, not wanting to get caught in the middle of the fight. That afternoon, I decided to dig deeper. If my dad was comfortable enough to use my credit card for this trip, what else had he done with my money? I logged into my bank account and started checking my statements. What I found made my stomach turn. For months, there had been small, suspicious withdrawals from my savings account, payments for things like dining out, shopping sprees, and even luxury home decor. All of it was spent on Vanessa and her kids. My dad had been quietly siphoning money from me, little by little. I printed the statements and marched into the living room, where Vanessa and my dad were sulking. I threw the papers on the table. Care to explain this? My dad's face turned pale as he glanced at the documents. Vanessa snatched them up, her eyes narrowing as she scanned the pages. So what? She said coldly. You're part of this family. It's your duty to help out. My duty? I shot back. You're stealing from me, and you think I owe you something? My dad tried to calm me down. Lila, let's not make this a big deal. We're struggling financially, and I didn't think you'd mind. You didn't think I'd mind? I interrupted, my voice rising. You could have asked me. Instead, you just took what you wanted. Do you even care about me? Or am I just your personal ATM? I couldn't let this slide. It wasn't just about the money. It was about the utter lack of respect. The next day, I went to the bank and froze all my accounts. I opened a new account in my name, ensuring my dad couldn't touch a single penny. But I didn't stop there. I filed a formal complaint with the bank, documenting every unauthorized transaction. If my dad wanted to behave like this, he'd have to face the consequences. Later that evening, Vanessa stormed into my room. You're selfish, she spat. All we wanted was a nice trip to bring the family closer, and you ruined it. You've embarrassed us. Embarrassed you? I said, standing my ground. You embarrassed yourselves by stealing from me. If you want luxury vacations, maybe try earning them instead of taking what isn't yours. Vanessa glared at me, but I didn't back down. For the first time, I felt powerful, like I was finally taking control of my life. A few weeks later, I got a call from the bank. My complaint had triggered an investigation into the withdrawals. As it turned out, my dad had also taken out a loan in my name to cover other expenses. I confronted him with the evidence, and this time, he couldn't deny it. You're my daughter, he said weakly. I thought you'd understand. I do understand, I replied coldly. I understand that you and Vanessa only care about yourselves. But this ends now. I reported the fraudulent loan, and my dad was forced to pay it back. The financial pressure became too much for Vanessa, and she left him, taking Emily and Chris with her. As for me, I moved out and started fresh, finally free from their toxicity. I got a better job and built a life where no one could take advantage of me again. The last time I saw Vanessa, she tried to ask me for money. I smiled and told her, sorry, I don't lend money to people who can't afford to pay it back. Moving out was one of the hardest things I'd ever done, but it was also the most liberating. I found a cozy little apartment across town, far away from Vanessa's controlling grip and my dad's excuses. It wasn't much, but it was mine, and that was enough. After settling in, I focused on rebuilding my finances. I picked up extra shifts at work and started saving aggressively, determined never to let anyone misuse my money again. I even started taking an online course in personal finance, learning how to protect myself from situations like the one my dad had put me in. A few months later, I heard through mutual acquaintances that Vanessa was struggling. She and her kids had moved into a small rental house after leaving my dad. The lavish lifestyle she'd flaunted for years had come crashing down. Her so-called friends abandoned her when the money dried up. One day, Vanessa showed up at my apartment unannounced. I opened the door to see her standing there, looking haggard and defeated. Lila, she started, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. I'm so sorry for how I treated you. I was wrong. Things are really tough for us right now, and I was hoping you could help out just this once. I crossed my arms and leaned against the doorframe. Help you? You mean like you helped me by stealing my money? Vanessa's face turned red, but she forced a weak smile. I know I made mistakes, but I'm still your family. Family doesn't treat each other the way you treated me, I said firmly. I worked hard for what I have, and I'm not about to throw it away on someone who only cared about me when it was convenient. Vanessa tried to protest, but I shook my head. Goodbye, Vanessa, I said, closing the door. And good luck, you'll need it. A few weeks later, my dad reached out. He asked to meet, saying he wanted to apologize. I agreed, but only because I needed closure. When we sat down at the small coffee shop, he looked older and more tired than I remembered. Lila, he began, I've been doing a lot of thinking. I realize now how much I hurt you. I should never have used your money without asking. I studied him carefully. For the first time in a long time, he seemed genuine. Why did you do it, Dad? I asked. Why didn't you just talk to me? He sighed, running a hand through his hair. I was desperate. Vanessa kept pushing for more trips, more shopping, more everything. I thought if I gave her what she wanted, it would keep the peace. But I ended up hurting the one person who actually cared about me. I felt a pang of sympathy, but reminded myself of the damage he'd caused. You need to understand something, Dad, I said. I'm not here to clean up your mess anymore. If you want my forgiveness, you'll have to earn it. He nodded, tears welling in his eyes. I'll do whatever it takes. The experience taught me the importance of setting boundaries and valuing myself. I continued to build my life, focusing on my goals and surrounding myself with people who respected and supported me. Over time, I mended my relationship with my dad. He started therapy and found a steady job, slowly working to pay me back the money he'd taken. It wasn't easy to trust him again, but I saw he was making an effort, and that was a start. Vanessa, on the other hand, disappeared from our lives completely. I heard she moved out of state, chasing another doomed relationship. Good riddance, I thought. As for me, I thrived. I got a promotion at work, paid off my student loans, and even saved up for a solo vacation, something Vanessa once told me I could never afford. Standing on the beach, feeling the ocean breeze on my face, I realized just how far I'd come. Looking back, I'm grateful for everything I went through. It wasn't easy, but it taught me to stand up for myself and demand the respect I deserve. Vanessa and my dad thought they could use me, but I proved them wrong. Now, whenever I see my bank balance, I smile, not because of the numbers, but because it's a reminder that I took control of my life. And that is a luxury no one can take away from me.